To the race now for 2020, former Vice President Joe Biden's double-digit lead on other Democrats being reaffirmed in a new national poll. Speaking with me yesterday, former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell made this prediction.
I think if Joe Biden can go through the next 12, 13 months without making any major mistakes, I think he's the nominee. It's as simple as that.
Let's bring in Bishop Garrison, co-founder of the Joseph Rainey Center for Public Policy, and Republican strategist Brian Darling, founder and president of Liberty Government Affairs. Gentlemen, good Sunday morning to you, my friends. Let's get right into it now. Bishop, do you think that's a fair picture of the Democratic race right now? Biden's strategy is just don't slip up. Is that what everyone else is counting on, so then they can get an edge there and get a big break?
Well, good morning. I think what the governor is saying there is it's more than the simple don't slip up. It's show the American people who you are. Show not just your base, but independent voters and interested conservative voters that you have a platform upon which you're going to lead, that you have the ability, the longevity, the experience to be the type of leader that we desperately need in these times. So I think it's a bit more than simply don't slip up. I think Joe Biden has already been there before, and he's going to act like he's been there before. And he's going to ensure that people understand that he has a message, and that's one of change and of a hope for a better tomorrow than what we're seeing right now.
You know, Brian, does this snapshot of the race, does it at all help Republicans? It lets them focus perhaps on just taking on one of the 20-plus candidates and focus on that one person?
Yeah, in one sense, I think Republicans will focus on Joe Biden. But with all these candidates running and all the different ideas floating around, I don't think it'd be smart for Joe Biden to think he can just not make any mistakes and cruise to the nomination. This is a unique campaign we're seeing right now. We're seeing just a number of candidates roll out new ideas every day. So for Republicans, I think they're just kind of sitting on the sidelines and trying to figure out, how is this all going to play out? Is Bernie Sanders going to get fire and actually move up and take a run at Joe Biden? Is Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris going to be a legitimate candidate that takes a run at Joe Biden? I think Republicans like myself are just kind of sitting on the sidelines and watching this all play out.
Okay. We are a month from today out, Bishop, from the first debates. And in 2 weeks, we're going to learn who actually makes the debate stage and which night they are on. DNC Chairman Tom Perez says that he's committed to making sure we don't see a repeat of the Republicans' kiddie table scenario from the 2016 election rounds. But how much is riding on the way the candidates are distributed between these two nights? I mean, you don't want to have the heavyweights, those with the greatest lead, going against each other, because what does that leave for the others?
Absolutely. You want some ability to say that this was a fair and equitable process. But at the same time, you ultimately want to ensure that those individuals that have a great opportunity to really be successful and have some longevity within their campaign are given a great deal of time to present themselves to the American people. So you also want the ability to say that everyone who really has these ideas can have an opportunity to put them forward. So, no, we don't want to see a kiddie table. What we want to see is maybe night A1 and night A2 is really what you're looking for. You're not looking to say that this is varsity versus JV or any other type of situation like that.
Do you think, Brian, that this first round of debates will start to actually winnow the field? Or do you think candidates that don't make the stage or don't make waves there, that it's still early for them and there's time to catch up? How do you think this is going to play out?
Well, I do think there's time to catch up. I mean, I was at the Cleveland debate for the Republicans, and, you know, I obviously was a big supporter of my former boss, Rand Paul. And what I remember is that candidates didn't have very much time to make their case. They had to make a soundbite fast. They had to make news very quickly. And so we didn't see anybody drop out that early in the race, but we did see a lot of movement by virtue of the fact of whether a candidate made news or didn't make news, and whether some lead was put in the target. They're going to be going after Joe Biden. I think you're going to see a lot of them targeting Joe Biden to see if they can beat him up a little bit.
Well, they're targeting Joe Biden as well as the president. Let's take a look, Bishop, at his latest tweet. It's getting a lot of reaction. It was charming, I think, is one way I described it earlier. But it reads as this: North Korea fired off some small weapons, which disturbed some of my people and others, but not me. I have confidence that Chairman Kim will keep his promise to me, and also smiled when he called Swamp Man Joe Biden a low IQ individual and worse. Perhaps that's sending me a signal. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, let's keep in mind this was his second tweet because the first one had a glaring spelling error in it, as do often many of his tweets. So we need to keep in mind with that. Second, I hate that we continue to have to give this any type of news about it, any type of reporting, because it gives the president exactly what he wants. It makes these types of noxious, horrible, visceral comments, it makes them news. Ultimately, you're seeing on Memorial Day weekend, the president of the United States siding with a dictator over a former vice president, a gentleman who's dedicated his life to public service and been in serving the people since he was 29 years old. So it's really disheartening that we even have to deal with this and have comments on it at all. It's disgusting, and it degrades all of us, to be quite frank.
I hear what you're saying there. All right. So, Brian, I want to take a look at Florida, looking at how the top Democrats are faring against the president there. It's got Joe Biden and the president. They are dead even with 50-50. The president has a slight edge. You see the numbers there adding up on the other Democrats, but it's all very close. So how do you read the state of Florida at this point?
Well, obviously, Florida is the big enchilada. I mean, it's going to be very important to win that swing state. But it's so early, and it's early enough where when you see if Joe Biden is a nominee and he's even with Donald Trump, we're going to have a dogfight. And as we know, when you look at Donald Trump's numbers, you get very strong support amongst Republicans, very strong opposition amongst Democrats, and there's going to be a battle for the middle. And it's going to come down to whether the people of Florida care about having a great economy or if they get distracted by issues like impeachment and other issues that don't matter all that much to the American
Distracted by
people.
Issues of impeachment, Brian? Distracted
It is a
by
distraction.
Okay,
I don't think most
on.
people in Florida care about impeachment. They
You
care
know how
about whether they have a
important
job.
impeachment is? Come on.
Well.
All right. I'll let you guys fight it out amongst yourselves because, as I say, thank you to you both and good to see you. We are just getting started on this Sunday at the top of the hour.